All right, today is going to be lesson 11.8, part 2. Here is all the worked out solutions to the homework from last night. Remember, if you need further explanation, please email your teachers. I showed you each step, so pause the video and see where you went wrong. Today, we're going to quickly review yesterday, and then we're going to learn how to rationalize the denominator. All right, just to review, if you have 3 minus root 2 quantity squared, you need to write it out twice and then apply the FOIL property. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative root 2 is negative 3 root 2. Negative root 2 times 3 is another negative 3 root 2. And negative root 2 times negative root 2 would be negative root 4. Combine the middle terms. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6 root 2. The square root of 4 is 2. The last step here, 9 minus 2 would be 7. So you have 7 minus 6 root 2. For this one, 4 times root 3 is 4 root 3. 4 times 5 is 20. Negative root 3 times negative root 3 is negative root 9. And negative root 3 times 5 is negative 5 root 3. So 4 root 3 plus 20 minus the square root of 9 is 3 minus 5 root 3. I can combine the negative 5 root 3 and the 4 root 3 to get negative 1 root 3. And I can combine 20 minus 3, which is positive 17. All right, today we're going to have to rationalize the denominator. You may not leave a problem with the square root in the bottom of the fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by a specific form of 1 that makes that radical in the bottom go away. If you think about how to get rid of square roots, it's squaring. So in this case, we're going to multiply by that square root that I want to get rid of. I want to multiply by root 3 over root 3. Root 3 over root 3 is the appropriate form of 1 because whatever we do to the top and bottom, we're making a new equivalent fraction. And simultaneously, we're going to get rid of that denominator that has a square root. So up top, I've got a root 33, and in the bottom, I have the square root of 9, which you know is just positive 3. These are equivalent expressions, but this is the most simplified version because there's no square root in the bottom. No, you cannot cancel anything out because you cannot reduce something that's in the radical and something that's outside of the radical. All right, let's try this again. My first step, I would always try to simplify first. So I see 20 and I know I can divide out a common factor, in this case, the perfect square of 4. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to leave the numerator and I'm going to rewrite the bottom as 2 root 5. That makes life a lot easier. Now the part of this that I want to get rid of is the root 5. I'm okay with the 2 being down there, but not the root 5. So I'm going to multiply by root 5 over root 5. This gets me root 65m in the numerator. And the bottom, I have 2 times the square root of 25. That's really just 2 times 5. So I have root 65m over 10. 12 is a little easier. The item I want to get rid of is the root 5. So I'm going to multiply by root 5 over root 5. So I end up with root 65 over the square root of 25, which I know is 5. So my final answer would be root 65 over 5. You may not cancel them out unless they're both out in front of the square root. All right, 3. I'm going to reduce this 12 first of all. So I've got root 7a over 2 root 3. Now my numbers are much nicer. I need to get rid of that root 3. So I'm going to multiply by root 3 over root 3. So my numerator is root 21a. And in the bottom here, I have 2 times the square root of 9, which is just 2 times 3, or 6. So this is how you would write your final answer. 14. I need to get rid of that root 7. So I'm going to multiply by root 7 over root 7. That leaves me with 2 root 560 over root 49. Now let's start breaking up that 560. I used root 16 times root 35. And I know the square root of 49 is 7. So up top, I've got 2 times 4, which is 8, root 35 over 7. That was a tough one. All right, there's a few more for you to try. I'm going to specifically do the last two problems. All right, so root 5 over root 6. I need to get rid of the root 6, so I'm going to multiply by root 6 over root 6. Up top, I have root 30, and the denominator is the square root of 36, which is just 6. Number 9. First, I'm going to reduce this 18. I'm going to use root 9 and root 2. So my new problem says root 3x over 3 root 2. Let's rewrite that up here. Root 3x over 3 root 2. The part that's causing me issues is this root 2. So I'm going to multiply by root 2 over root 2. This leaves me with root 6x over 3 times the square root of 4. Well, that's just 3 times 2, or 6. All right, we're going to have some activities posted for you today to practice this skill.